Happy Wednesday. Welcome to Stamping A to Z. This is my series that I started even more than 32 weeks ago. We're on episode 32, but we've done a few things in there on top of the 32 episodes. This is all about the products that are in our catalog and how to use them, different ways you can use them, just kind of helping you through this humongous, somewhat can be overwhelming catalog. So I've been going through all the different products and showing you how to use them and what they can do. So this week we are looking at Vellum, which is this clear stuff. It also this year comes in a beautiful shimmery, you can't really, I don't know if you can see that, shimmery vellum. So it can be found in the back here on page, so the shimmery vellum's on page 135 and it comes in the 5 in colors. And the regular vellum is on page 136 and it comes with 20 sheets. So from part 1 was last week with vellum, and I showed you these 4 cards. So we did some just dry embossing on the shimmery vellum, just used some vellum as kind of a softening effect just so that our sentiment could pop. We did some alcohol ink fun. This is my favorite. And then we did some layering with vellum on multi-step stamping. So today I'm going to show you 4 more techniques to do with this wonderful vellum. The first one is with our, I think it's Beauty of the Earth suite. So I'm going to use this tree, and I'm also going to use the Designer Series paper, and we're going to make a clear card. So I'm going to start with, I cut the vellum, and so it's 4 1/4 by 11, because our standard cards are 4 1/4 by 5 1/2. And as you can see, I scored my vellum at 5 1/2. So I will fold it, but first I'm going to take this embossing folder that also goes with the suite. It's the Bark 3D embossing folder. And I'm going to emboss the front of my card, my vellum. So I'm just gonna move this out of the way, pull out my big boss here. And I've got my 3D plate, and I've got my vellum. So I'm just gonna, I think I want my bark going this way. So I'm gonna put my card in this way, and I only want it on the front half of my card. So I'm only gonna put it halfway in. You see there's a line here, so I could line, like I can see that it's straight, although this print doesn't really matter that much. So I'm gonna put my, I don't know if you can see this. I'm gonna, oh, I gotta turn it the other way so I can get the handle. I'm putting my embossing folder in sideways just so that my paper can fit without getting crunched. And then I just put my 3D plate on top. I'm just gonna roll that through. Okay. And then open it up to get the fun look of bark. So you can kind of pick and choose which side. If you look at which side I had it in, I can't even remember now, but I think it was this side. So normally Stampin' Up! Puts their logo on the top side. So this is how it's meant to be. If you prefer the other side, by all means, you can put it that way as well. So there's the front of my card. Now you can see it's still fairly flimsy, so I don't think you'd want to make a clear card with just vellum. So you always have to add a little bit of cardstock to make things a little more solid. So, uh-oh. Here we go, sorry. No, that's not it. Where'd my paper go? We need some paper. Hang on. I might have to cut some paper. I've lost. Oh no, here it is. Okay. So I've got a couple pieces of, I actually used the thick white cardstock just to make it even stiffer. So I've got two pieces the same size. It's 4 1/4, and I think it's even by 4 1/4. So it's basically a square. I'm going to cut each of them. I'm going to line up the corners at 1 inch and 1 inch just to kind of get an angle going. Where's my inch here? Okay, there we go. Okay, and then just cut. So then I've got two pieces going that way, and then I'm going to do my other one as well. So my one corner is at 1 inch, and my other corner is at 1 inch again, so I know that my angle is going to be the same as my other set, and it's all happy. So then I'm going to move this out of the way. And then, so what I'm going to do is I'm going to put one piece on this side, one piece on this side, and then do the same on the back. So you could glue it on. Vellum, especially when it's already embossed, it's hard to stick it down well. So I would suggest either gluing it, or you can use the Stampin' Seal Plus, which is even stickier than the Stampin' Seal, so that you get a good stick to it. You could use the tear and tape as well. Totally up to you what your preference is. I just want my edges to... Oop. Okay, I'm off camera. I just realized I've got so many papers going on. Oh no, I put it on the wrong side. Okay, I'll put this one here. Good thing I have 4 of the same pieces. Brain part there. My brain is not all here. My dad is in the hospital, so I'm not all, my brain's not all here apparently. Okay, so I want the sticky on this side. Okay. Up again. So you can see it's already getting a much more solid feel to it. So this one, I'm gonna make sure I put it on the right side again. And we have one left. Okay. There we go. Okay, so now we've got our clear, mostly clear card, and then it has the nice impression from the bark. So then I'm just gonna take this beautiful Beauty of Friendship. I'm not even gonna use, I'm gonna use the sentiment from here, but I don't even need the stamps for this. I'm just gonna cut with the dies. I'm gonna cut the tree, and I'm gonna cut some leaves. So I've got the tree here, and I'm going to use the leaves. And it even has these cute little birds, and they face both ways. And then I will also use the label in a bit. Okay, so I'm going to pull my big boss back here. And I need a different, I've got my base plates, and I need 32 plate, and then my cutting plate, and a top plate. Okay, so for the tree, I have some early espresso, but what I did was I put the adhesive sheet on the back so it'll turn it into a sticker, and it's easier to stick down because it's hard, all the little branch pieces, it's really hard to get glue on it and stick it down well. And then since my vellum is very uneven, I want it to have kind of stick everywhere. So I've got that, and then I'm just gonna do, so this is a piece of the paper from the designer series paper, and it's just kind of meant to be like crazy. It ends up making a really nice leaf looking colored leaves patterns. There's several, there's a kind of a green and yellow, there's several different colors like this that you can use to cut out these leaves, or you can just color your own. That's always a choice too. I didn't use the adhesive sheet on this one, and I did that on purpose because I'm going to pop it up with some dimensionals. So here's my tree, and then I'm just gonna, hopefully it'll peel for me. Yep, there we go. Get it started. It's probably easiest if I peel it from the trunk. Ah, it's because it's in separate pieces. That's the one thing I'm not loving about these strips of adhesive sheets. It makes it a little more difficult to peel, but not that much. As you can see, it wasn't that bad. Okay, just a little piece stuck here. Come on. There we go. Okay. So then I'm just going to stick my tree down onto the vellum. Okay, and then you can just take, oops, I forgot to take out my dimensionals. So you can just take your the little mini ones, or you can cut down bigger ones, whatever you have, and then just find the thicker spots on here where you can put some down without them showing. There's enough spots that you can, and really it's kind of crazy enough that even if it shows a wee bit, it doesn't really show. Put one more here, and maybe one more here. Okay. Yes, you see, well, I don't know if I just did it really well, but I can't see any of the dimensionals. So then you can just pop it on, and then you have kind of a nice leafy tree. And then, so to finish it, so here I put my paper on the opposite way, so it doesn't really matter which way you do it. I stamped the I Believe in You from the stamp set that comes with it, and then just cut it out with the rectangular die, and it makes a really pretty little sentiment. So that's my next technique of vellum. The next one we are going to move on to is another clear card, but a slightly different take on it. As you will see, I want to leave, I always take away all my pieces and then I can't find pieces when I go to do something. Okay, so I'm going to move this one. So next up is, I'm going to use the Simply Succulents out of the annual catalog again. love this one. I've used it many times. I'm sure you guys have seen it before. So this is the one I'm going to use along with our vellum. So again, I'm starting with the same sheet of vellum, so 4 1/4 by 11 inches. But this time I'm going to be using our Stamparatus here, and I'm going to be using some embossing powder and our blends and all sorts of stuff. You will see. Okay, so to start, oh, you know what it was? I guess I will fold it first. I think I might have folded it first. So you can fold it, if you fold it towards away from, now I can't even tell which way it was. I believe the valley was here. It's easiest to fold the vellum into it, but then I find it breaks more and it's a little bit more difficult to fold against, but the crease lasts better. It doesn't start breaking, which is, you don't want your edge to be breaking. So it makes for a cleaner card edge. So the first thing I'm going to do is, I can't remember exactly how I had it lined up. I think that's good. Okay, I'm going to emboss the outside of my card with the succulents. So I'm going to take my Versamark and I'm just going to ink this up. Really well. Okay. And then I'm going to make sure, just kind of hold it into the light, make sure you got a good impression. And then I'm going to take my gold embossing powder and I'm going to pour it all over here. And oopsie, missed a spot. Okay, perfect. Now, as usual, like I said last week, you want to preheat your heat gun when you're heating, embossing your vellum, because you don't want to hold it on there for very long or it'll start to warp on you. So I'm just heating up my gun since I did not preheat it. I was naughty. And then we will heat up our embossing powder, and it's turning gold, so you know it's hot. So it is warping a little bit. But that's okay. It's not too bad. Oops. So I've got my flowers. Now I wanted to have the pot as well. So in order to do that, I'm just gonna, since I put my pot on the other side, I need to clean this. Don't get it all over my hands. Okay, and then what I did was I stamped it and I cut out a piece of sticky note just to do the masking. And then let's put this back on here. So as long as I make sure this is in the corner, it'll be in the right spot. Let's go and then let's check and see. Yeah. So then I've got my pot and I'm going to put that in the gold embossing powder again. So I'm going to use my Versamark. I'm going to stamp that down as well as I can. Make sure I got a good, looks like I do. So then I'm just going to take this off. my gold powder back on. Oopsie. Oh, maybe that was part of the pot. Oopsie. I just took off a piece of the pot. Oh well. Good enough. Okay, so we'll heat that up again. Cools off quite fast. There we go. Now we got it going. Okay, perfect. So now we have the pot with the flowers. So that part is kind of 2 steps to get that in there. Then, so I've got my front, but now instead of, so last time we put the cardstock coming here, this time I'm going to put my inside with a piece of white cardstock. So I want to kind of, well, it's okay if the flower goes off, I guess, but I'd like it kind of lined up, but I also want it lined up within my card. So this has been a while since I prepared all this last week. Let me take my flowers. I'm going to stamp this again, this time in black though. And I think if I moved it over one, oh, the other side. 1.5 maybe. Oops. That looks pretty good. Okay, I'm just going to put my magnet down to hold it a little. I don't need my Versamark anymore. So I'm going to take my Memento ink because I'm going to be coloring with blends. So when you're coloring with blends, you want the Memento ink since it doesn't react with the alcohol marker. And the good thing with using the stamp red is if I don't get a great first go around, I can stamp it again and get it all in there. But I seem to have got pretty good. So once again, I'm going to take my mask that I cut out. I just fussy cut it. And let's put it on here again. I want it just a little bit inside the lines so that I don't have spaces on my pot. Okay. There we go. So now I've got my pot and I've got my flowers and all I need to do is color them. I am not going to bore you with my coloring as I have shown you blends and whoo, oh, I just got black all over. I'll have to try and scrape that off with a sanding block, but I can't believe I did that. It was such a good one. Anyways, so I would color it. So what I did, I used, here's the finished one. So it's got just the plain gold embossed, and then I just gold embossed on one of the sentiments from the Simply Succulents, and it also, the cutout for the label is from the dies. So that's just the front, it's completely plain. And then on the back side, I have my colored piece of cardstock. And then I put another piece on the back. So it makes It makes it super solid on the back. The front is a little, you could put a little strip of something if you really wanted to, or a frame or something, but I don't think it needs it. It just makes it really pretty, and then the colors just pop when you have the cover down. So that's kind of a cool, another way to use the vellum. That's the fully clear. Oh, and so if you want to know what colors I used to color this, I used Fresh Freesia, dark, soft seafoam, and some smoky slate, and some the soft succulent. It's nice that we have the succulent color now to go with the succulents. Makes for perfect succulents. Okay, so that's the second one. The third, this one's fun. I made it super simple, but you can make much more complex ones. It was just the technique that I'm going for here. So keep that in mind. Sky's the limits when you're doing this stuff. You can take my techniques and run with it. So the next thing we're going to do with the vellum is we're going to make stickers out of it. So here I've got some vellum, and I just stamped my seashells from Friends Are Like Seashells, and I stamped them, and then I embossed them with white embossing powder. So I did that in advance, and then I'm going to flip it over to the back side. Since blends don't, they tend to react with the embossing powder, and you don't want to wreck the tips of your blends. So I'm going to color it on the back side, and then you don't have to worry about that. This is Light Misty Moonlight. And I'm just gonna kind of make some darker areas here. Blend, it doesn't blend as well on the vellum to blend colors, but you can still get nice coloring. And it's just a nice soft look rather than just having the white cardstock. And you can color on top of the embossing powder here so that you don't have any white, but it's not going to bleed, it's not going to go over the edge, and you're not going to see it because it's behind the white embossing powder. So I don't know if you can, how well you can see that, but then you've got the colored pieces. So again, I've got dark flirty flamingo and light flirty flamingo, so I think it just will make a nice pinky sea star. I remember we always called these starfish when we were kids, and then when my oldest was little, I just remember watching this video, and it was always, they're called sea stars, not starfish. Doing it wrong all along. So now I try to call them sea stars instead of starfish. So there's that one, and then we have a little seashell here, and this one I did with crumb cake. So again, just give it a little bit of color. And again, it doesn't really blend, but you can kind of give it a little bit of dimension with some different colors. So now we have the 3 shells colored. Then I'm gonna, this is just a piece of the adhesive sheet. So I'm gonna peel, right? Yes. I'm going to peel my adhesive sheet. I probably don't need that much, but let's see. Go like, actually, let's go like this. Oh no, oh well. It won't be fully sticky, but that's okay. And then we'll put this one like that, and I'm just going to cut, hang on, scissors. Okay, I'm just going to cut this waste. Don't want to waste. Okay, this one I really fudged, but that's okay. Okay, so we're good there. Just gonna put a piece of this here so it doesn't stick as I run it through my Big Boss. I should have just stuck it down the line. Anyways, my bad. Do as I say, not as I do. That's pretty much how I roll. Okay, so then we have these, and then there are the dies that go with. So I just happen to have the 3 separate shells that are missing in action here. There's one. Okay, so then we have our, this one, and this, ooh, the sticky keeps sticking to my fingers. Okay, stop sticking. I guess that's the point, is to have a sticker, so it's good it's sticky. Okay, now this one's okay, and then I need my plate. Roll it through. So now the part that you've colored on the vellum is stuck to the sticky part. So you don't have to worry about rubbing it and losing the color and that kind of thing. Now I've got it stuck to my plate here. And you've got 3 stickers that you can stick onto a card. And now you can use this in so many different ways, because if you've got something where you don't want the sticky to show, like say this card that we did last week, my little 4 sticky spots show, I could put a solid piece of adhesive behind and then stick it down, and it would be perfect and you would be none the wiser. So that's, it works well in that scenario as well. But right now I just have my little stickers, and then I'm just gonna take my card, and once you stick them down onto white, you could probably stick them down onto other colors, but they wouldn't show as well. So if you have nails, it works better. But yeah, so when you put them down, you can see the color pops. And your color is safe. Oh yeah, I forgot you guys taught it the Y together. So yeah, so then you've got your stickers, and then I just took this fun new set, Create with Friends, and I stamped it in white embossed powder on black, and then of course I don't think I haven't made a card lately without using these Scallop Contours dies. So I used the die, cut it out, and it's super simple card, but just fun little stickers. And you could like make stickers and give them in a gift, like for kids or whatever. So yeah, that's just a fun way to make little stickers. And they're really durable stickers too, because the vellum doesn't tear easily. So that was my number 3 technique for part 2 of vellum. I don't want to lose these. Hang on, let me just stick these back in the folder if I can find it. Okay, and then we'll go on to the 4th, the finale, the grand finale. And I'm surprised I didn't do this in part 1, because it's the stained glass technique. So It's a goodie but an oldie. Oh, I lost my dogs have been getting into my garbage. So they're great company, but they like garbage a little too much. Okay, so for the stained glass technique, we're gonna make a window. But first, did I not? Oh, I did. Oops. So this is part of the card. And I don't know if you guys noticed this in the catalog. It is called the Stitched Greenery die, and it makes this prettiest pattern. So it just happens that they show it with the Free as a Bird, and I'm going to use it with Free as a Bird, which is on page 83. But the die can be found in the back with all of the dies. Here's the full card that they've made with the Stitched Greenery die. Such a beautiful die, and it's just one big die. But before I do that, I need to cut out my my window. So I'm going to take my card, and I'm going to take my yellow piece here. I'm going to get my big boss again. Okay. And I know they don't recommend to cut more than one piece of cardstock at a time. But in this case, I'm going to, just so it's lined up nicely. So I'm going to make sure my card at least is open. And then I'm going to put my cardstock down about where it'll sit. And then I'm going to take my, oh dear, where did I put it? I had all the pieces, now I don't. Where did it go? I need my window piece. Hang on. Pause. I just saw it. Is it in front of my nose? Are you guys seeing that? Oh, it is in front of my nose. Of course. Okay, so I'm using the Hippo and Friends dies, and I'm going to use, hopefully it's in here. Usually I have everything ready. Okay, so I'm going to use this middle. There's three kind of squarish looking pieces. So I'm going to use this middle one. And make sure line this up again. And I'm going to put it about there. And then I got to find my other piece. Why are there so many pieces? Okay. Got all sorts of stuff stuck. And actually, yeah, we needed two cars, just so that one car is pretty much all my stamp stuff. This is Mom's car, this is everybody else's car. That's how it goes. But hey, I get to have fun and I still get to do my lives, so it's all good. And actually, it's been good. Keeps me busy and occupied while everybody else is working and schooling and doing all that. So I like having my stuff with me. Okay, so I've got, as you can see, it cut pretty good. So I've got my two pieces that I don't need, and I've got my window, and I'm going to sandwich my vellum in between. So I'm going to take this apart again, and I've just got this is my card base. So I'm going to set that aside, and I'm going to take, oh, why did I put my big boss away? I need to cut again. Okay. Now I'm going to take this greenery, stitched greenery die, and I'm going to just put it on top of this. Grab my plate again. run it through. So it's not an like don't get fooled, it's not an embossing folder, it's actually a die, but it's just not cutting anything per se. It's just making this beautiful leaf pattern of leaves, which I just think it's so pretty. It makes a huge impact. Okay, so we've got our outside piece, we've got our inside piece. We need our vellum piece. And then we also need how do I do this? Where's my buddies? Oh, here. Okay. So now I can't remember if I did this first and then I did. Doesn't really matter. Okay, so I need black embossing powder now. So I'm just gonna switch my gold to black. I don't know what that is. Don't need that. Okay, let's put away the gold. Bring out the black. I'm getting hot. It's getting warmer today. Okay, so I've got my vellum, got my birds, and I need some Versamark. Now I'm trying to remember, oh, because it gets hidden behind that's how I'm trying to aim for the middle three birds. I don't really care about this one, so I want those kind of centered in my square of vellum, although I can move my vellum around too. Behind the sandwich, so it's a little bit forgiving. It doesn't have to be perfect. So again, if you're using a block instead of the Stamparatus with your vellum, just be mindful that when you first put it down, it has a tendency to slip until it kind of sticks. So you have to really be careful when you're putting it down. But once it's down and it's stuck, you're good. Otherwise, you just kind of get that extra line or a thicker line smudge. Ooh, if it moves on you. The heat wave, oh, you're already in the 30s, wow. Yeah, we've been pretty chilly here. It's supposed to get warmer in the next few days, not to 30, high 20s. We have appointments to get our second shots though, so I'm hoping I'm hoping that I don't get sick. But if I do, I'm hoping it's not too hot because I don't do well in heat in the best of times. So that's got the black powder on it. We had black powder long ago and we didn't have it for the longest time, and now it's back in this annual catalog. So yay, if you don't have black powder, you can now get black powder, and if you had black powder, it's back. So either way, you're golden. And then I think back in the day we used to even have the detailed embossing powder, and I feel like because it did like more the details and it kept it thinner. I don't know why they took it all away. I really liked it. Anyway, so I've got my birds on my vellum, which I'm gonna color behind, and they're gonna go in here like so. But I'm going to just in case, so I decided for the inside where I'm putting my birds, I'm using an extra sheet because if I make a mistake, I can turn over my sheet. I can take another sheet instead of starting all over with the cardstock. So I just thought that that was the better way to do it. And I'm just gonna kind of mark very light pencil marks on my paper to know where it goes. And then what I did was I cut out a piece of the template on, it's just printer paper, so it's thinner instead of cardstock, because if you use cardstock, it kind of, your stamp doesn't stamp as well, because it gets held up. So, I mean, on the rubber stamp might not be as bad as the photopolymer, but I just find it works better with thinner paper. So I'm just going to take some of the Versamark off, not that you really have to. And then this time I'm going to use Memento, because again, I'm using the blends. And this way, if I put too much ink, it's going on my paper and not, because this is the inside of my card. So you're going to see, pardon my head, I need to stand over top. There. Again, you might want to use a Stamparatus for this, because if you miss, you can kind of get a redo, but I figure I can flip it over too. So I don't have an eraser handy, but I would erase those marks. And then I'm just gonna, I won't bore you with all the coloring, but I am gonna color this one so I can sandwich it in between. So I'm gonna use, I used Pool Party and So Saffron. My iPad is making it really hard to see the comments. I don't know, it's not even that bright in here. It's very strange. Okay, so I'm just gonna, what the heck? It looks like there's nothing coming out. Is it me? I'm sure it's, oops, wrong end. Oh, it's there. It's just faint. Again, sometimes with the Vellum, I find it's easier to use the darker. See how my nib is a bit too, I've colored on embossing powder. So don't do like me, and make sure you always color on the back side if you're using Vellum, or use the trick of coloring first and then embossing with your, oops, with your Stamparatus to help you. But yeah, I don't recommend coloring on top of the embossing powder, because you will ruin your tips. And these markers, you can't refill them and stuff like the other ones. So, and you have to buy them now in sets of 2, so they're, you know, $12 each. So it's not a cheap replacement just for being silly and coloring your embossing powder. Oh, your last chance order. Yeah, I was going to mention that at the end of the video. Do 2 more weeks for last chance items. So make sure you take a look. The easiest way to look at the stuff that's on sale is to go onto my store, and in specials they've got the last chance items all listed together, so you can see all the sale, like what's on sale, instead of just trying to figure out what's retired and then going through all of that. So make sure you don't miss out on that. So when what you would do is you would, I'm not gonna stick this down yet because I want to color it first, because otherwise it'll bleed through both. But if, pretend it's down, then for me to decide, I would, so I'm just gonna put sticky here, 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 and here, and then take my birds, and you just want to line them up. Sorry, pardon my head again. Ah. Okay. I should have put the sticky on the vellum. Again, another don't do. Do as I say, not as I do. I am having troubles. Okay. Apparently I went crooked with this. So then you would stick it down to match your inside. And I'm just going to trim this since I totally stamped that at a different angle. But that's okay because it works. Okay, because that's not going to show. Because then I'm just going to put some Stampin' Seal on here. I probably need to, I'll cut this down too. And then you just glue this on and you've got, so now I'm going to show you the difference between, so this is just with the back of the vellum colored. But if you color both the inside and your vellum, when it's closed, it really pops and it really has that look of stained glass. So it's really worth doing the two coloring again. So this is with just the vellum colored and same blends, and then this is with both colored. It really pops. Hopefully you can see that on the camera. And then I think this is just from, yeah, this is just from the stamp set, and then this is cut out with the Hippo and Friends dies again, and then this thread is in the annual catalog. It was part of the Playful Pets combo before, but I'm sure I saw, or maybe it is retiring. Hang on, don't want to miss out on that stuff because you can peel it apart, and then you have, oh no, it's still here, Playful Pets trim combo pack, so you can still get it. So that's where that black and white string is from. But yeah, you can, if you have it, you can untwist it, and then you can, if you just need white thread, you can use just the white. If you need just black, you can mix it up. So yeah, you can always take your strings apart and you can do all sorts of stuff with it. So that's a really good one to have. Anyways, that is my wow card, my fourth and last of the vellum. Moving on next week. I can't believe we're in the V for our alphabet here. So I think there's a bunch of W's. There's I have to go back and make sure I haven't already done them, but water painters, water paper, all sorts of W kind of stuff. If you guys have any requests, I probably would start taking requests once we've gone through the catalog. We do have a new catalog coming out in August, so maybe there'll be some new products in there I can showcase. But yeah, and then I'll start going through some of the actual stamp sets and showing you fun ways to use those. Hopefully you enjoyed it. Don't forget about the last chance items. I'm going to post in a bit. I'm going to put in another group order. If anyone's interested in getting free shipping, it would be porch pickup at my house in Edmonton. But if you can just order on your own, you can go to my store. If you order over $60 using the host code, you will get my July kit class. It contains 4 cards that with all the instructions on how to make it. It's all pre-cut and everything. You just get to make them for free, for fun. Lots of fun. Kind of instead of a club going on, if you just make your purchase and then you can do some cards with me. Yeah, hopefully you have a great rest of your week. And what I do with Z, I don't know. I don't think there is a Z, Yolande. You might have to come up with something. You know all sorts of art, different art stuff. I don't know if Stampin' Up! Has Z. Maybe I'll find I'll use my zebra stamp. I don't know. I will think. I'm only on W. I don't think I've done every single letter of the alphabet. Zoo. The zoo one retired. But I could do zoo animals. We'll see. I'm not there yet. I still have a couple of weeks of W's. Anyways, have a good rest of the week. Hopefully we'll see you next Wednesday. If you want to craft at some point online together, I'm always open to that. Yeah, the zebra, but I think the zebra retired. But anyways, let's see what comes out for the new catalog. I'm excited to see the Christmas stuff. I don't want to think about Christmas yet, but I'm curious to see what's coming out. Anyways, yeah, have a great rest of your week, and hopefully we'll see you next week. Bye.